Hey, this is Paul Mazurkiewicz, the drummer from Cannibal Corpse, Umbilicus, and Heaven's Gate, and you are watching That Metal Interview Podcast.
Metal Interview.
My next guest, a very special guest, the drummer for the world-renowned Cannibal Corpse. Yes, you've heard correctly. We're talking about Paul Mazurkiewicz, original drummer for Cannibal Corpse. And these guys had a part in the movie Ace Ventura, along with Jim Carrey, as some of you might already know. And anyways, Paul speaks of the band's latest, Violence Unimagined. And right now we're going to go ahead and check out their one of their jams. Also, a video for Necrogenic Resurrection. We'll be right back. Corpse melting music, metal face melting necrogenic resurrection off of their latest album, Violence Unimagined, Metal Blade Records, of course. And let's go ahead and go to the interview with Paul, master drummer for Cannibal Corpse. Here it is. Enjoy. So let's start off with Violence Unimagined is the last album you guys released a year ago. Can you talk to us about it? Riffs, lyric-wise, who's in charge of lyrics and all that stuff?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's our 15th album, Violence Unimagined. Exactly, we released it about a year ago now. At this point, a little longer, I think, actually. And you know, we feel we wrote a great album. You know, I mean, luckily the fans felt the same way, and everybody seemed to receive it really well and positively. And you know, we just kind of go about doing what we've been doing in the last you know, few years. If you see how we write our albums and write our songs, you know, looking at the credits and everything, you know, where it's a lot of individual efforts these days. I mean, it's obviously always a band that comes together to get the final product out, but you know, Alex will write songs, Erik will write songs, and Rob writes songs. So Violence Unimagined was nothing different. It ended up being 11 songs of I think Alex wrote 4, Erik wrote 3, and Rob wrote 3, I believe. And then everyone's doing lyrics too. You know, I mean, we just come up with riffs, come up with ideas. Those guys do their thing and, you know, write those songs. And then we, you know, like I said, we come together as a band, of course, to get them finalized and put together in that way. But then, you know, lyrically, same kind of a thing. If you look back over the career of the band, I mean, everybody's writing lyrics. And, you know, this time is no different. If anything, I have more of a hand in lyrics in the last few records up until this one. Since Erik came into the band, he wanted to write lyrics for his songs, which were fine. Gives us a different aspect and a different, you know, view on lyrics and all that. I mean, albeit still Cannibal Corpse and still brutal subject matters that we deal with. But just the fact is you got another creative force that wants, you know, put out some lyrics because he's able to do that. Yeah. And he's been doing that for years. So I was relegated down to writing 2 songs, which was, you know, a little lower than normally. If you look at Red Before Black and Skeletal Domain, you know, I had a hand in most of the record on both those records lyrically. So, but, you know, like I said, whoever can contribute, that's fine. You know, we're all in it together, and it's a team effort. And, you know, we're just glad that we have different lyricists and different songwriters, you know, and not just one doing everything. So that's the way we've been operating for years now. And, you know, Violence Unimagined was no different. It was just, you know, the last chapter in the story, so to say, that here's what you got for the time frame that we were able to work with to get to make a new record. And, you know, I think we came up with a good one. So, you know, we'll just keep on plugging away and doing our thing and just try to get better ourselves as we go.
For sure. It's a great album. You guys have killer song titles, as everybody knows. I mean, Murderous, Rampage, Inhumane Harvest, Surround, Kill, Devour. You know, who comes up with these titles? I mean, I guess whoever's writing the song, I guess they just come up with the title, right?
You know, we all come up with titles too. It's the same thing. You know, we're all working together, so of course there's always going to be brainstorming. I mean, you know, I'll come up with titles. We all do, of course, you know, but that doesn't necessarily mean, right, whoever's writing the song is coming up with the title. I mean, a lot of times that is the case. In particular, the songs that Alex wrote, he came up with the titles for his songs. And let's see, what did I come up with? We actually, we came up with Over Torture years ago that we never even used. And when Erik came into the band, he was like, "Man, I want to use Over Torture as a song title." I know you guys were toying with that, and we didn't use it, so we were like, "Of course." And you know, I'm trying to even think of the other songs. I don't know if I came up with any other titles or not. Because sometimes I'll just come up with a title and I'll give it out to the guys, and they'll, oh, cool, somebody wants to use it for one of their songs or what have you, you know. What was it? I think it was Ritual Annihilation. Erik was talking about some other working title that he had and wasn't sure. And then I remember going, you know, looking at his lyrics and everything, and then I go, hey, man, what about like something like Ritual Annihilation? Because we've never used the word annihilation, and it just made sense to what he was writing. And it was like, oh, awesome, yeah, let's do that. So it'll vary. I mean, you know, where that's, it's good to have that as well. Like I said, whoever comes up with them, primarily it's the guy writing the song that may come up with this title, but not all the time. So it'll just vary depending on the circumstance, I guess, depending on who comes up with what. Like I've been one naming the albums for the last few records.
Okay.
I came up with Red Before Black, and I came up with the title Violence Unimagined, actually,
Wow.
Yeah, obviously we didn't write a title track with that, but, when I came up with Violence Unimagined, everybody was like, wow, that's amazing, let's use it, of course, so it's just, we're all in it together. Same thing with the writing, it's a group effort, and, whatever you got to get the job done, whoever comes up with whatever that we feel is gonna work, so it's a good thing.
And here's a different question. When you're creating a new song and a beat to it, do you make it challenging for yourself as far as the live aspect, or do you keep it simple and, doable? How do you approach a new song?
Well, and that's another thing. You write songs where it's individual like that. I mean, we all work differently. Erik and Alex and Rob work differently in how they approach writing songs. A lot of the songs these days that Alex writes, he's got it just kind of mapped out in his head what he wants to be done in every drums, guitar, vocal, that kind of thing. So Alex might give a song to me, and it's like he wants me to do this on drums because that's what he's hearing, and which goes with the riffs, instead of me even just starting from scratch going, what do I do? Now, two songs in particular that come to mind that were pretty freaking hard to write, to learn. I mean, they're not fast. The tempos aren't fast. It's mentally because it's something that I didn't come up with per se. Yeah. So, Cerements of the Flayed and Slowly Sawn, those two songs, Alex wrote pretty much primarily all of it, drums, like I said, included, and I had to learn those drums. And, especially a song like Slowly Sawn, it's not fast. It's just mentally challenging because he knew I'd be able to do it, but it was just going to take some work. Now, right, if you would have presented, say, Slowly Sawn or any of these songs to me, maybe I'm coming up with something different, and who knows, because the fact that he had those ideas and he wrote the riffs and all that, it just made sense that he had a vision on what the drum should be. Then myself, I'll get together with Rob. Erik kind of works similar to Alex, where he's got a good kind of a template for the drums, but with some leeway going on in there. And then Rob, him and I are the ones, really working organically for the most part. Rob will come up with all his songs, and he's got ideas, but we'll hash them out at the practice facility. And then I'm a little bit more open to doing what I kind of feel needs to be done with Rob's direction as well. So yeah, I mean, a lot of it's challenging. That was a challenging record, man. Violence Unimagined. I think I tried to step it up in my drumming and the fills and all that kind of thing, and then just having to play, like I said, learn other so-called other people's drum parts. I mean, challenging, so wow. So it was a lot of work, man. I mean, those two songs in particular, man, it was tough. Cerements of the Flayed, that one took a long time, and Slowly Sawn did as well.
Is there any Cannibal song that gives you trouble live that maybe you might maybe you avoid playing it or having it on the set list?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many songs, and obviously we look back at probably a lot of the old ones. There's certain songs that you wrote that, you just had a feel maybe this one won't end up being played live. Over the years, we have many of them. If you go through our set lists, it's not like we've played every song we've ever written. There'll be a lot of songs that you make an album and you go, chances are we might not ever play that song ever, because we know we have so many songs, and we feel that maybe there's a few other better ones on a certain record that would probably go over better live, So some of them, were maybe there was a lot that were very challenging over the years to do, and go, man, yeah, I'm glad we don't play that one live, because that would probably be a little tougher to pull off, The only one in the set right now that's a little tough, I mean, I really stepped it up with Violence, and man, Condemnation, Contagion, that was a tough one that Erik came up with. That he's the one that suggested he wanted fills and all that, and the syncopated part in the beginning, that was very meaningful. But man, doing all those fills, it was kind of like, that's something I never really done in a song before. So that one's still pretty challenging to this day. That took a little while to get down, to feel confident to be able to play it live. And such a great song, and it goes over well. But when that one gets in, I'm not struggling, or I'm not like worried about it or nervous. But when it gets there, it's like, okay, man, I got to be on top of this more so than any song we're doing. Man, that's a tough one. So,
wow.
So it's, you got to challenge yourself, but at the same time, it's good to just, hey, fill in the songs. I mean, I've never been, super flashy drummer, kind of filling in what needs to be done in the drum department. I mean, I have my moments, of course, but that's what he's got to practice. He's got to play, practice, and that's all you can do, and then you'll get there. So that's kind of been the mentality over the last, more so than ever in the last, say, 15 years or so, is just push the envelope, and really work hard and, make it as more, more aggressive, add more things in, do a lot more stuff around the kit than maybe I have done in the past. So, so you just gotta practice, and you'll get there.
Yeah. So what keeps you going after 30 plus years, Paul? I mean, what's your inspiration here?
Well, I mean, we've been doing it for that long. That's a big inspiration. I mean, I think there's a few factors, you're living your dream. Here we are. When we started out, we're basically teenagers, and then you're just wanting to play music, and, you have a dream like everybody else. Oh, wouldn't it be great to be in a band, our band Make It, and, be able to tour, and, you never thought that it would end up being, to this level of this, long kind of a thing. So I think we feel very lucky in a lot of ways to be doing this as long as we have. And, so I think as long as we feel healthy, and we are, and we're still have the attitude and want to play music and create and all, then that's going to give us incentive to keep moving forward. You only live once. I mean, all those cliches, you only live once, I mean, all those kinds of things that you can say that make sense, that, why not just take it as long as we can? Because, like I said, it's been a dream come true for us. And, life's too short. You only live once, all those, like I said, cliches that...
cliches, yeah.
Why not? So I think, that gives us a lot of inspiration.
Yeah, I'm in Eagle Pass, Texas. We're a little close by to San Antonio. Last time you guys did a show down here, you guys sold out, of course. And a friend of mine went to see you guys. I couldn't make it. And I told him, you need to buy the tickets ahead of time, man. These guys, I guess he hasn't been keeping up with you guys. These guys sold out, man. And sure enough, you got to your show and he couldn't get through. He couldn't get inside because it was sold out. And anyway, so how does it feel having sold out shows every night, 2022? Did you ever imagine this back then when you started,
No, exactly. We can't imagine any of this, of course, when we started. I mean, obviously, you just want to play your music, and if one person likes you, you're happy, right? And that's it. So, I mean, who would have thought we'd be going this far and doing what we were doing? I mean, that last tour we did was amazing. That was, probably our biggest tour we've ever done. Yeah. I mean, might be due to the pandemic hit, and like a lot of people are starving for music, but at the same time we want to feel that, hey man, we're been a pretty consistent band, and we have a great fan base, and we feel we put out a really good record, that people want to hear some songs, and they're ready to see Cannibal Corpse after a little bit of a break going on, right? So I think it feels good, man. I mean, it was like I said, a big tour, and it was great that most of it was sold out. I think there was only like 5 shows on that tour that weren't, and they were very close. So, wow. What an amazing feeling, that you can still be relevant and, play shows like that at this point in our career. So, we're thrilled about and extremely happy, of course.
Yeah, that's great news for us fanatics. That the music, the genre is out there. It's happening. It's relevant, as you said. And thanks for, making it relevant and good music and creating a fan base and all that. So that's good news for us fans, Do you have any plans for new material?
Eventually we'll get there. I mean, we're working on so much touring right now. We haven't thinking of anything like that because of, we missed some of the touring with the pandemic, and we're really technically only have done 2 tours, only one in the States. We went to South America, and we just got back from Europe, and it wasn't even a very long tour. It was only 10 shows. It wasn't even a real tour. So obviously we're just concentrating on the task at hand is playing live. So I'm sure we'll get there at some point. That's if you follow our career, you know what happens. I mean, we release a record, we tour. We release a record, we tour. It's crazy to think that we've put 15 albums out in 33 years now, 34 years.
Yeah.
I mean, so obviously that's what we do. So I think eventually it'll come.
What's different nowadays compared to 1988 or 89 when you guys started? Obviously, the internet is a big factor. What do you see different here for kids out there listening to this? What experience can you talk about in comparison to nowadays?
No, I mean, it's, those obviouses, I think, right? Like kids got it so much made in the sense of, they want to hear new music. They want to get things that it's at the tip of their fingers right now, where we didn't have that growing up and have that back in the 80s, for fans to be able to, know what's happening in the scene and have so much information at their disposal and just the music in general. They want to hear bands. Well, they can listen to 10,000 bands and no problem. Easily, where that wasn't the case back then with us. So there's so many of those. The technology, what a big difference. I mean, and then you got more variety as well. I mean, I don't know if it's oversaturated with so many bands or who knows. I don't know. I mean, that's for not me to determine. But there wasn't as much back then. I think in the earlier days. You had less selection, perhaps, which I think was fine for us. It didn't matter. I mean, a lot of quality. But, that's the technology is huge. And the kids, they got it made that, we didn't have those luxuries. Right. Which is great as a fan, for sure, to be able to keep up with the times, like on a second's notice. Pretty cool.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. I'm from that era, too, the cassettes and all that. So right. I've been following you guys since then, so... Anyways, after Pat was dismissed from the band, did you guys audition guitar players, or was Erik your one and only choice?
He was our choice. I mean, Erik made complete sense. I mean, he was already a friend of the band and, producer and, all that kind of thing. So it made complete sense. That was our choice, and he, we knew that, he knew that, and, everything felt place in that regard, because that to us it really didn't there was no question about who really needed to be in, and luckily Erik accepted, and it's been great having him.
Oh yeah, for sure. He produced co-produced the last album, and Hate Eternal. He's just a beast, all around.
Of course.
Oh yeah. Erik Rutan.
Everything, man. So great to have him.
I mean, you've been asked this question before a million times. For people just finding out, how did it feel acting next to Jim Carrey?
That was fun, man. It was a great time, man. What a great experience, of course. I mean, that was something unexpected back then, when we're just starting out and we're, still relatively young and all that. And, you get a call to be in a movie with, like, in that situation. Remarkable. And then, then for the fact that the movie did so well. Yeah. And, a lot of people, millions of people saw it, and then knowing how it went in the scheme of like helping death metal, helping us push ourselves forward. I mean, it was just a big positive all around, and yeah, we were thrilled, man, being back behind the scenes, seeing how a movie made and all that. Yeah. And that Jim wanted us there, and we were treated well on set and everything, and just, of course, being fans of his comedy back then, and still are. But it was a fun thing, a surreal kind of experience that you'll never forget, of course. And it was a lot of fun.
Obviously, this brought a bunch of success to the band for sure. Do you think things would have been different if you guys would have turned it down?
I don't think so. I mean, I would want to say no, but there's no denying that helped in a lot of ways. Yeah. I mean, I think, if you look back and you go, okay, well, if we were just a brand new band that nobody ever, nobody knew. I mean, a lot of people didn't, but we were still an established band at that point. Tomb of the Mutilated was out.
Yeah.
We're doing fairly well. We're moving up the ladder a little bit, so to say. So it's not like, we're just some no name that nobody knows who we are. In the scene, people know who we are, but right to the layman, to the just the average person, no one knows who we are, right? So I would want to think that we, because that didn't change us and who we became as a band.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, we're in this movie, so now we're doing things differently. It's like, no, we're going about the way things would have happened no matter what, in a creative musical sense. So the Bleeding still would have came out the Bleeding, regardless of this movie or not, right? So I think, and then our obviously the Bleeding, arguably our best record, and I don't look at it as being the success of the movie per se. I think it was just, in the terms of music, in the terms of the scene, that death metal is just getting bigger in general. All that, so I would hope it wasn't be for that, but you never know. I mean, it's a hard one to answer because, like I said, the movie did so well, and it did. You do hear so many people talking about if it wasn't for the movie, I didn't see the movie or didn't hear about death metal. So it's really hard to judge and to answer that. But like I said, I would want to believe that it would have still been, the course we've taken and gone without the movie. So.
Yeah, and then I saw an interview with you where you do talk about that, where you guys semi turned it down because you had a tour somewhere, and then the movie company, I guess, accommodated you guys to a different date, I guess, right? Is that true?
Yeah. We had to turn it down initially because of the timing, right? We wanted to do it, but that wasn't the important thing for us, was the movie. It was something cool that came up, but we didn't look at that as some huge opportunity that, oh my gosh, we're going to do this movie and it's just going to skyrocket up into stardom, It was like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool, a movie. I mean, that's something different and neat. But, right, if it didn't fit into our schedule because we had a European tour booked, and it was like, well, we didn't, at that point, especially in our careers, we were just, we didn't want to back out on something we already agreed to do. You know? So we basically had to tell them, well, we want to do it, but man, we have this European tour booked, and we're not going to be able to make it in that time frame that they allotted for us. So yeah, they came back and said, okay, well, we can do it here, around your tour or whatever. And we're like, well, all right, well then, if you're going to do that, well then, sure, So yeah, it was very cool of them to do that, because you never know. I mean, if they didn't want to accommodate us, then they might have opted to say, oh, all right, well, we'll get somebody else. Sorry. So luckily they didn't, and
very cool.
We doing it, so yeah, pretty cool.
Let's speak Umbilicus. Very different sound than Cannibal, big time. Very cool stuff. Very cool stuff, though. What led you to form this project?
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate it. I mean, it's kind of been a long time process, kind of coming with this side project of mine. And if we're really going to go to the backstory and know everything about what happened with this, you got to go back about 20 years ago, a little longer, maybe. Geez, at this point, maybe about 22 years. When Jack Owen was still in Cannibal Corpse, and it was probably 2000. Him and I, we have the same tastes in music with hard rock and roll, and music from the 70s and all that. And we talked about, man, it would be fun to do a project, just to break up the monotony of what we've been doing with Cannibal, and fun and do something a little different. And it's something that's we're passionate about, So we ended up doing a project 20 years ago called Path of Man.
Okay.
And we wrote a bunch of originals. The band was probably active for maybe about a year, maybe, I don't even know, 2 years at most. But the thing was, we ended up playing 2 shows in Tampa at a bar called the Brass Mug. And we played our own originals. I think we did one cover, doing a Grand Funk song, but we wrote about 15 originals in this time, and we laid down some demos, but we didn't do anything major with the music. I mean, we went through a few singers, and we were always looking for the right singer for the project, and then everything just kind of fell apart. Jack ended up soon after he was out of Cannibal, but I don't know, there's just Cannibal was taking had a lot going on, so it just kind of fell to the wayside. But we had fun doing it, man. It was just what a great time we had doing that. And I thought we wrote some cool songs, and we always thought if we got a right singer, who knows, it would have been cool to release some music. But okay, well then, all right, Path of Man was short-lived, defunct by like say 2002 or what have you, right? Yeah. So fast forward then to after when we recorded Violence Unimagined as Cannibal Corpse, and I was, if you look at the time frame for that, we were recording right when the pandemic hit. We were scheduled to go in April of 2020, and the pandemic hits in March, a month before, and we're like, we're all prepared to go, but now. Like, okay, what's going to happen? Are we going to be able to record? Luckily, we did. Everything went off on schedule with the recording of Violence Unimagined. But obviously, as things started rolling along now, come May and June, right? Now we know there's a good opportunity or a good a good sense of we might not be touring for a while, and we might have to delay the release of this album, right? So when I was done doing my drum tracks, I was like, man, I don't want to just sit around and wait and kind of do nothing here. So I got a hold of my buddy. His name's Vernon Blake, who is the bass player in Umbilicus, a good friend of ours, and been known him for a long time here in Tampa, Florida. Well, he was the bass player playing in Path of Man with Jack and I.
Okay.
So we've talked about it over the years, him and I, Vern, we're good friends, real good friends, and we've talked about the old project, man. We'd listen to songs now and then, we'd revisit them and go, it would be cool to redo the project and all this kind of stuff, right? So when I got a hold of him saying, hey, if you want to redo, you want to get the band back together, so to say, right? Because now's the time. Now I have some free time, basically, and then it came down to the typical cliches that I already mentioned. Hey, man, you only live once. We're not getting any younger here. It's like now or never, to do something like this, right? So Vern and I got together. I guess it would have been around May, June of 20, and we actually just him and I started practicing some of the old songs that Path of Man we did. We started just him and I jamming them out. Well, in this time, Jack Owen has since moved to Illinois. Jack was living in Florida well after Cannibal. I'm sure you know that. He was with DSL the longest time and all that. Yeah. And he's still living in Florida in the Tampa area, but he moved out to Illinois a couple of years ago, and we just felt that this isn't going to work with Jack. And he didn't want to do anything with us anymore like that in that regard and revisit this project. And we were like, that's, all fine and good. So we said, well, if we really want to take this seriously, let's find another guitar player. Let's get somebody local here and we can see what happens here. And that's when Taylor Nordberg comes into play, the guitar player. Yeah, we got, we knew him from mutual friends and all that. I never met him at this point. I mean, Vern met him, but, we knew him from the scene, from other mutual friends that knew of him and thinking, oh, man, Taylor would be a perfect fit for you guys. He loves this kind of music. And so what ended up happening was Taylor ended up learning one of the songs of the old songs, sent him some of the music, and he learned a song, and he came to practice for the very first time when we jammed together. And we played the song, and it was like, man, that just sounded great. We had a lot of fun, and it just, it seemed to really, really gel up right off the bat. And he was like, man, I'm in, man. This would be awesome. This is what a great thing to be. And we were like, man, awesome. We would love to have you. He's such a great talent, great guitar player, and and all that. So that's basically how the band started. Right there. Taylor started writing some songs. We decided to use any of the old stuff. We're like, we'll start fresh and just, have Taylor can write this stuff. We'll work on new stuff and, come up with a new name, all that kind of thing. So that's that's basically what it was. It was revisiting the old project, but kind of revising it to be the new project, which it is, which Umbilicus today. So, and then Brian Stevenson, of course, is the last piece of the puzzle, because we wrote the song. We actually had everything done and recorded and all that, and we were still wondering what we were going to do for a vocalist, and we needed somebody special. And Taylor was actually going to sing a little bit. Thought about singing, even though he can sing, but he's not like a singer per se.
Yeah.
And then he knew of Brian Stevenson because Taylor plays in another band with him, and he sent him some of the songs. And man, as soon as we heard Brian singing over a couple of those songs, we were like, dude, this is the guy, man. This guy's amazing. I mean, we felt, you could just feel it, that this was the man, and this is the last piece of the puzzle to that we needed. So and then there you go, and then here we are, about to release the new record. I know the new single just came out today. We released Umbilicus, the title track, today, and 3 other songs are out there, and the album's going to be out on September 30th, and we'll see what happens. Of course, it's a side project because I'm busy with Cannibal, and now Taylor, of course, since then joined the side, and and he's got other bands happening, but we'll see what happens. We'd love to do stuff. We'd love to keep going and make more material, which is the plan. It's just a matter of kind of taking it day by day, taking a year, see what happens. But we're excited. I'm excited. It's been a long time coming, and I'm glad this music is getting out to the masses. Worst case scenario, you left your mark and you say, hey man, we had a time doing this, and we feel we wrote some pretty cool songs, and and that's what it's all about, having fun and doing something you love. So that's where we're at. So
yeah, can you give us an update on Heaven's Gate?
Yeah, and Heaven's Gate's another project I'm in. I know, it's crazy. I mean, all of a sudden I'm in 3 bands in the last. Like, what happened here? How does this happen? And that you probably know a little bit about that. Yeah, Tony, of course, from Municipal Waste, singing on that. He got a little over a year and a half ago, and we'll start a project. He moved back to St. Petersburg, Florida, where he was originally from. So that's been a fun project. I mean, I'm sure you may know or will know what's going on a little bit. I mean, we released 1 song from Heaven's Gate. Yeah. It's in the process of getting an album together. It's not really even an album. I mean, we'll call it an album, but it's only like 5 songs that we recorded. The one we released, Jerusalem Syndrome, is one of the songs, of course. So there's a few others that need to be out there, and we're making a proper release for it. But we've already played 2 shows. I'm sure you might have heard of that or seen that. We played 2 shows. We played in Gainesville and in St. Petersburg, Florida here, and actually we got 2 more shows coming up next week. We got one in Tampa here on next Friday, the 23rd, and then we're playing in Daytona on the 24th on a Saturday, and we just got added to the Cavalera show in Tampa here on October 21st.
Nice.
Yeah, which is a cool thing. So yeah, Heaven's Gate's kind of picking up and taking up a little bit more so, and without anything being out right now. Yeah, we got 1 song, but I mean, yeah, obviously you can go to YouTube and hear the other songs live. I mean, that's you get the raw versions, of course, but so that's another thing. Which I'm having a great time doing, bringing me back to the roots of kind of the early days of thrash and crossover and that kind of stuff, which I really love, and the early onset of Cannibal. I love that kind of stuff. So it's kind of bringing me back, and I'm having a lot of fun. We're all 4 of us having a great time, and we'll see what happens with that. I mean, so we'll just We'll play some shows. We'll write some music. We'll work around everyone's schedules the same way Umbilicus will have to do, and just have some fun doing it while we can. So, but that's where we're at with Heaven's Gate as well.
Very cool. Would you like to send a quick message to your fans listening to this podcast?
I just appreciate the fans, of course, over the years. I mean, if it wasn't for the fans, we wouldn't be here, right? I mean, with the support, we got the best fans in the world, and if it wasn't for them, Cannibal wouldn't be around, and death metal wouldn't be where it's at. So just appreciate the support and keep it going, and it's all we can do, man. Just keep supporting metal and death metal.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul, for your time, and looking forward to see you guys on tour very soon.
Yeah, we'll be there, man. So good talking, man. I appreciate it.
Do not forget to support Cannibal Corpse on their socials, their website. Purchase their merchandise. Keep supporting death metal. For that matter, keep supporting all rock and metal, whatever is of your favorite on your playlist or whatever you prefer. So keep supporting rock and metal, in other words. And we thank Mr. Paul Mazurkiewicz of Cannibal Corpse for making time and talking to us. That Metal Interview podcast with your friend James. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and blah blah blah, the rest of the 9 yards on Instagram and TikTok and all that. So thank you guys, 1 million, and keep your heads up for more and more and more badass guests as we continue marching on through time here with That Metal Interview podcast. And don't forget to keep it metal.
That Metal Interview.